book bench we found. Third book bench. This is bench 3, but this is the fourth one we found. This one has lots of nursery rhymes on it, like Little Bo Peep and Humpty Dumpty. Daily entry from Ali Palians. What is your favourite?
Wow. Our bench is called Castles in the Air, and it's based on lots and lots of different stories, so they're almost all favourite stories, aren't they? What's your favourite? No, I love the castle. I really love Katie Morag, and I love the library and the town hall. I think they're really truly doesn't necessarily like drawing buildings that much, like properly, and you really worked hard on your buildings drawing, didn't you? So that was good, and it was really nice being able to work together, and like Trudy was doing some bits, I was doing other bits, and then you'd colour in my bits and I'd colour in your bits. It was a bit of a kind of, it was a leap of faith, but I think my favourite bit is my mermaid, which is the first thing I did. The mermaid and Ratty's boat and the ugly duckling, and that's a little bit iridescent now, and I didn't dare do any more gold on it because in case it didn't work. I was terrified of the whole thing going wrong when it was going varnished. So I think that's my favourite bit.
I think the wardrobe.
Oh yeah, the wardrobe down the other side is if you look down underneath the bench, there's a wardrobe down there with the cat in the hat. And I think I like the back, actually. I like our poem. It felt like we felt really clever on it.
I like it. Often.
So yeah, and the other thing that I really like is on here we've got a few books that are references. We ran out of time to write anymore, but we've got Wouldn't You Like to Know, which is a Michael Rosen book. I'm really looking forward to seeing him this afternoon, and Thunderbus, which is a book that my husband wrote, which he just published himself like about 25 years ago, and I absolutely love it. So that's my favourite thing. Thank you very much.
Willow, this is for Luke.
I'm with author poet Michael Rosen, and we're going to ask him some questions. You write in lots of different styles: stories, poems, fiction, non-fiction, silly and sad. Do you approach it any differently? What is your favourite to write in?
I don't think I approach it differently because when you write you have to have a little time when you think. We might call that daydreaming, and you have a little time daydreaming before you write the next bit. So that's the beginning before it starts, then as you're going along bit by bit. And I don't have a favourite, it's just, it is in its own way quite similar. The only thing you think about is what kind of writing is this? What's the subject and who's it for? And then when you start thinking like that, it sort of helps you focus on what you're doing.
You are the 5th Children's Laureate. Why do you think it is important to champion children's books?
Well, I think it's important when anybody champions children's books, whether it's a teacher in a school or a bookshop or a librarian. And the nice thing about the Children's Laureate, it was a way of, when they invented it, Michael Morpurgo and Ted Hughes, the idea was that it would be a national way of championing children's books. And I thought that sounded like a brilliant idea, and that was before I did it. And then when I did it, I tried very, very hard to champion the kinds of books that I like, poetry books, funny books, from all sorts of authors, as many different authors as possible. So that was the work that I did. So I think, yeah, we need people to champion children's books because sometimes they can get sort of forgotten, sort of pushed to one side. So that was the job.
Today you have been talking about your book The Missing, the true story of your family in World War II. Why do you think it is important for children today to continue to find out about such stories?
Well, any stories from the past are interesting. I think the thing about World War II, it was a time when the most terrible and some of the most amazing things happened. And if we ever want to understand that question, what is a human being, what are we made of, then understanding something that involved millions and millions and millions of people in terrible situations but also some wonderful ones, then that helps us understand it. It's very hard to ever understand what human beings are like, but that's one way to do it.
What was your favourite book as a child?
Well, my very first favourite book was Squirrel Nutkin by Beatrix Potter. I liked that a lot because Squirrel Nutkin seemed kind of naughty, quite risky. He took a risk, and he got away, which was good, but he lost a bit of his tail, which was a shame. But never mind, he did get away. And then when I was a bit older, our teacher read us a book called Emil and the Detectives by a German writer called Erich Kästner. And I wanted to be Emil. I really loved that story a lot. And then a bit older than that, I read a lot of books that are set in Tudor times, Queen Elizabeth I times, particularly by a writer called Geoffrey Treece, another one called Rosemary Sutcliffe, and a third one called Cynthia Harnett. So I liked books about Elizabethan times.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you for asking them.
Our next bench. Can you find the rainbow fish? Day 2. I'm with Joseph Coelho and we're going to ask him some questions. Why do you like poetry so much?
Oh, that's a really good question. What I love about poetry is that a poem normally takes a moment or a feeling and it condenses it down. And I often say that poetry translates the soul. And by that I mean it speaks to things that we often find hard to describe, like our feelings, or like moments of sheer elation, or when our heart beats a little bit quicker. Poetry is really good at taking those moments that we might normally find difficult to describe and putting them into words.
You have just finished your term as Children's Laureate. Why do you think it is important to champion children's books?
I think it's important to champion children's books because books can broaden your horizons. They can make you aware of the world beyond your own doorstep. Through books you can learn about other people, but you can also learn a lot about yourself. So I think it's really important that we champion children's books to instill the habit of reading in young people, because it is a habit that will help them and stay with them throughout their entire life.
You write for lots of different ages, from preschool to teenagers. Do you approach them differently? What is your favourite to write?
That's a difficult question. I often write different things for different age ranges at the same time. So I will literally be at home on my computer, but I might have a picture book open on my screen, and I might have a middle grade or a verse novel open at the same time. And if I get stuck on one, then I'll switch to the other. And it means I can tend to write more, because normally if you're just writing one thing and you get stuck, then your writing stops. But because I've got other mediums and other age ranges to work on, I find it kind of frees up my mind, and then when I get stuck on the picture book, for example, then I'm normally ready to go back to the older fiction, and vice versa. So I love writing them all. They all have their different pros and cons.
What tips would you give to children who want to start writing poetry?
Or for children who want to start writing poetry, my top tips would be to carry a notebook wherever you go, because you never know when you're going to have good ideas. So I always have my notebook by the side of my bed at night. I take it with me all the time. When I'm traveling, I always have like a notepad or something to write on in my bag, because we all get good ideas, but we always think that we're going to remember them, and it's not uncommon to forget your best ideas. So write them down. If you have any ideas for a poem or a story, write it down, and then when you've got time to write, you can look through your notebook and write a fantastic poem.
How would you write a thank you poem?
Ooh. I would write a thank you poem by thinking long and hard about the person I'm thanking and all the wonderful things that I want to thank them for, and try and make a personal connection to that person, and all the wonderful things they've done. And that would be the basis for my poem.
What was your favourite book as a child?
Oh, I had lots. One of my favourite books was Fungus the Bogeyman by Raymond Briggs. Do you know it? It's a really funny book. And it's a bit like a comic book. And it's about Fungus the Bogeyman, who's kind of like a troll, and he's really disgusting. So that's my favourite book.
Thank you for answering my questions.
That's okay. Thank you, Willow. They were great questions.
I'm with Sarah Billamore, the Artistic Director of Newark Book Festival, and I'm going to ask her some questions. Can you tell us a bit about the theme for 2024's festival?
Absolutely, thank you, Willow. So the festival this year is all about play, because we all love playing, don't we? So the programme has got over 50 events, and we've got everything from poetry to music. We've got some chalk art over the weekend. We've got a shed of stories tomorrow popping up in the marketplace, and we just had a great event this morning, haven't we, with Joseph as well. We're looking forward to the five-a-side Young Ambassadors panel as well on Sunday, so there's lots to look forward to this weekend.
We are on day 2. What has been your favourite so far?
Ooh, I think I would say Michael Rosen, probably. So we were at that event, and it had such a big audience, and everyone was so happy, and we had lots of book signings going on, and it was a really emotional event.
You've kind of already answered this question, but what should you and everyone be looking forward to in the next couple of days?
Oh, well, as we approach the weekend, it's our busiest time for the festival. So that means we're full of events at the town hall, we're full of events at the Tudor Hall, we've got a big literature village in the marketplace. As I said, we've got a shed of stories, we've got Rhubarb Theatre doing lots of exciting things on Sunday, Beetlejuice walkabout and some bookend theatre shows. We're in the castle for family play day on Sunday as well, and the tower is open for tours on the castle this weekend as well, so there's loads going on over there as well, so we're looking forward to a really busy weekend.
Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you very much, Willow.
I'm with Dr. Tim Ryder, and we're going to ask him some questions. You are chairing some of the events at the Newark Book Festival. Can you tell us a bit about your role?
So I am chairing, I think, 9 events, and my job is to talk to the authors about the books and about their work. So I read all the books and then think about the questions I'm going to ask them to try and get them to speak a bit about what they've done and why they've written the books the way they've written them, but to try and find out a bit more about them and their work.
Which event has been your favourite, and what are you looking forward to for the next couple of days?
So yesterday, I was involved in the event with Michael Rosen, which is wonderful. He's a really amazing man, brilliant writer, very kind, very generous. And we had a big audience, children and adults, and people seemed to love it. So that was a great event. There's so many to look forward to. So today I'm talking to Jack Cornish about Lost Paths. And later on this evening, an author called Tom Cox about his novels. But in the middle of the day, I'm talking to Giles Smith about ABBA, which is an amazing band celebrating a 50th anniversary recently. And that'll be good fun because we'll play some of the songs and we'll get Giles to tell us about it. But there are so many great events, so much to look forward to.
Thank you for answering my questions.
You're welcome.
Sorry, it just goes to show you that you are dyslexic, you can be so here we are.
Okay, one more. Good try. Fantastic. Yours. Okay, so higher. What can we do? Okay, that's good.
Daddy!
Yeah.
Mummy, Daddy beat me my score. Take up that.
Want to use a little bit?
Have you done this last one then? 'Cause I want to just pull these together and it's a two-handed job, I'm afraid.
Not very colourful.
I know you can't.
If not, then put them back in there.
I put a card in the bag.
They fall.
Oh, hello, sorry.
How you get? You didn't miss them out. But then the same on the other side.
And we can do the same on the other side. Only you have to draw a ladder to the door so people can see.
Yeah, it recognises.
Well done. That's already there. That's already there.
Daddy! Yes!
3, 2, 1, go! Let go!
Listen.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! Should we try again? One last go.
Okay.
Is it? Autumn. There we go. Hang on, we're going to have to wait for some... one, go! Whoa! You did it! No way!
Thank you, Newark Book Festival. I'm looking forward to next year. Will I see you in 2025?